Thank you, honourable members. You may be seated. We will proceed from where we left off, and I now call upon the Honourable Solomon Rodo to take the floor.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers, Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and Honourable Members. Firstly, I thank God Almighty and His Son, Jesus Christ, for the gift of life, His abundant blessings, and especially this opportunity to be here again in Parliament for a second term. Madam Speaker, I join previous speakers in congratulating you for your reappointment and also your deputy, Pina Bhatnagar. And we look forward to upholding in this House the high standards that the people of Fiji demand. And likewise, we on this side of the House look forward to a more enabling environment for effective debate. I'm also happy to note the steady increase in the number of women in this House. And congratulations to the 10 members of Women Parliament. And I look forward to working with you all in championing issues to boost the development and empowerment of women. Madam Speaker, I also acknowledge and thank my party Sodelpa for the confidence it has placed in me. In particular, I extend a big nakabagalevu to the party president, Honorable Ratunaika Malal Malabu, and to the party leader, who's also the leader of opposition, Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, for their leadership and tremendous efforts during election campaign that resulted in the shift of the 6 seats from that side to this side. Madam Speaker, in this journey, our families make the greatest commitment and sacrifice. And for that, I thank my best friend and husband, Kitione, and who has been my greatest practical support. To my sons, Viliame, Nia, and Pate, with your dear families, thank you for your many sacrifices that you had made on my behalf. And to my 7 little heartbeats, thank you for the love and laughter which has kept me grounded, especially when the going gets tough. I also thank my sister Meme for joining me in Fiji during election time, my brother Anare for running the campaign team in Wonombalabu, Tia and Said, even though abroad, your support was always timely. I also pay tribute to my late parents for the upbringing built on strong Christian principles and my early childhood days spent in Tadilevu, Bauma, Tukavesi, Retu, and Nodo, where my dad taught as a primary school teacher. I also acknowledge my teachers at Andivakambau School, the early sisterhood formed at Sawani, and later the Old Girls Network that has had a strong influence to what I am today. Special thank you to my classmates and especially those overseas, Kessa, Twina, Harrietta, and Eleanor. Madam Speaker, I got my seat back in Parliament with a lot of help from various people. And I'd like to acknowledge and sincerely thank the following. My families in Moleu, Bonombalabu, Yavata, and Bua, and those overseas. My church family, the Tambadakataidirua, the Levalelevu, Kalambu, Wasiwasaneta Siri, Kinoya, Makoi, and the Christian Mission Fellowship community. The Nasinu Constituency team, led by Sitiveni Walela Kamba, the Lilunia Wusa Kalambu and Rendini, Isikeli Rembewu and the Taidirua Kalambu campaign team, the 20 polling venues coordinators in Wanibula, Vambati Housing, Vambati AOG, Sri Maruti Kindergarten, CMF Primary School, Kinoya Methodist Church Kindergarten, Assemblies of God High School, Bishop Camden, Tadirua Primary School, Tadirua Tamavua Primary School, Tolesuba Forestry Training Station, Sakoda, Silo, Navewakau SDA Church, Dele Tokotoka, Bekomba, Delena Sole Hut, and Wainimbuku Hut, and all the 220 party agent volunteers that came out willingly, giving their support and services and worked tirelessly on election day. The ladies in the flea market, thank you for your support. And a special thank you to Arsena and Iliana, and I will always treasure and value your sacrifices and commitment. And all those individuals that supported my fundraising activities and those that I may have missed, for all your assistance and support. And to all the 2,235 people that voted me into this House, thank you most sincerely, and I will do my best to confidently carry your voice. Thank you all for your prayers. You have indeed helped me find my political values and dream. Madam Speaker, may I also thank His Excellency the President for his address in opening this new parliamentary session on Monday, and which gave us a lot of food for thought. And may I respond to some of the issues as follows. On the election, Madam Speaker, it has been said that the 2018 election was free and fair. But this is far from the truth because of the following, Madam Speaker. The Electoral Act is not voter-friendly. For example, old people had problems remembering the number of the candidate they would like to vote for. There was public transport problems. And Madam Speaker, I was also advised by some concerned citizens and members of the discipline forces that undertook postal ballot, they were told to write their names on the back of their ballot papers. And Madam Speaker, also this morning, some women reached out to me, women relatives of correctional officers or prison officers, raising their concerns that this morning there has been communication made to their husbands, the prison officers, and been given a form, a directive from the Commissioner of the Correctional Services, stating that they have to fill in the forms with their names and the name of the party that they have voted for. Madam Speaker, I had said that, and if they are disputing it, then I'm requesting the Honourable Minister responsible to investigate and bring a report into this House.
Point of order, you are mentioning the Commissioner of the Correctional Services, and he's not here to defend himself. I'd rather you withdraw that statement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Are you withdrawing the statement?
I withdraw.
Thank you.
But Madam Speaker, I would request and I would plead to His Excellency the President that these issues be investigated. Madam Speaker, the campaign field had been very uneven because the electoral process does not specify any financial ceiling for each candidate to campaign with. And as demonstrated by the Fiji First Party, with those huge billboards that continuously appear overnight, and public rallies due to its strong financial backing. And in the process, Madam Speaker, other parties had been pushed aside with a lot of disadvantage. For example, in the Fiji First Party radio advertisement, and I wish it could be played here, played now, and then we will see the difference that SODALPA and NFP campaigned on policies and principles, while their radio advertisement gravitates more towards fueling unwarranted animosity. Madam Speaker, with reference to parliamentary sittings, and I quote, that the business of this chamber is the business of all Fijians, wherever they may be. Again, Madam Speaker, this is far from the truth due to the following reasons. The standing orders does not allow us to speak in our mother tongue, does not allow us to speak in the vernaculars. And I say this out of concern because more than 50% of my voters understand the proceedings of this House much, much better in the vernacular. And also, Madam Speaker, this is a breach of my human rights. Madam Speaker, to effectively participate in this House requires good preparation. But that is a big problem right now due to the limited space in the opposition office. And I ask the Honorable AG, where is the improved office space that he has been promising for the last 4 years? And in this House, I know we can't call anyone a liar, but what do we call these ministers that make false promises? Madam Speaker, you didn't conduct a local government election, you promised that. So what do we call you? Madam Speaker, to make real progress in our parliamentary democracy in this House, we must bring back the original 2014 version of the standing orders, which allows for people's voices to be properly heard. For example, through petitions being referred to standing committees, and whereby people's concerns are addressed and their priorities aligned and can become the government priorities in the developmental agenda. Madam Speaker, I'm responsible for the Ministry of Women, Children and Poverty Alleviation, and also the Ministry of Civil Service. And may I comment briefly on these two portfolios? Very soon, very soon. Very soon. I acknowledge the efforts by the ministry in addressing elimination of violence against women, and right now the observation of the 16 days of activism. But Madam Speaker, despite the legislations, the policies, the programs in place, violence against women and children continue to rise. And I call on the government to do much more to counter this nagging issue. And in this regards, I urge government to establish a commission of inquiry on elimination of violence against women and children. And I also call on all the members on both sides of the House to unite and support this proposal. Madam Speaker, let me add some comments on the civil service. Being a former career civil servant, it saddens me to witness the way the civil servants are being badly treated now. For example, the short-term contracts, mostly ranging from 3 months to 3 years, creates low work morale and lack of job security. The 55 years retirement age further contributes to unemployment. The huge salary gap between the permanent secretaries and deputy secretary and below is simply pay discrimination. The high presence of expatriates as permanent secretaries, which takes away jobs from our very own, very well qualified people. Madam Speaker, the civil service reform in the last 4 years has only managed to present the 2015 annual report to the Standing Committee for Social Affairs. Therefore, the government has failed to provide any written records to substantiate the civil service reform success that it has been claimed. Madam Speaker, these are some of the things civil servants care about, and I urge government to seriously look into them. Otherwise, these work conditions create a very bleak future for civil servants and Fiji as a whole. And may I add, just this morning, some teachers contacted me and said that they have been told that their work contract they will sign in January will be reduced, their salary will be reduced from what they're currently receiving now. Madam Speaker, and I will ask the Honourable Minister to look into that, please. Madam Speaker, may I highlight some issues from the constituencies? The government claims that there is a high economic growth, and I quote, "We see that prosperity in the record 9 straight years that our economy has grown and tens of thousands new jobs have been created." Madam Speaker, unemployment is one of the pertinent problems in the urban Nasinu-Nosori corridor. And to say that unemployment is decreasing is very misleading. For example, during campaign in Kinoya, a young lady in there who was a recipient of the TELS scholarship had graduated from University of the South Pacific with a Bachelor of Environmental Science. And when she graduated, on that graduation day, she was also given a letter on the payment of her loan, student loan, and which was amounting to about 20,000. After that, she was unable to find a job, but she was lucky enough. She secured a scholarship, and she went back and did postgraduate diploma program. She has just completed this program, but still unable to find a job. Another young lady in Lakena Hut. The hut is where the single mothers and single fathers with their children stay. And this hut is administered by the faith-based group. A young lady in the hut graduated with a diploma in fisheries. And she is still unable to find a job. And I'm looking across to these ministers on the other side, telling us that there is employment, and I will challenge the Minister for Fisheries and the Minister for Environment, if I could refer these ladies to you, and if you can secure them jobs. They are very well qualified. Madam Speaker, when those that have formal qualifications cannot find a job, we can only imagine the huge number of unemployed school leavers. I highlighted that because they have finished their education under your TELS program and they still have not found employment. Therefore, Madam Speaker, may I request the government side to stop talking about reduction in unemployment and talk about new employment policies and programs that will create jobs for graduates and youth. You must note that the 1,000 and all these care programs that were dished out like nobody's business on the eve of election was just a vote-buying exercise, and even in doing so, still with 6 seats moved this side. That 1,000 is grossly insufficient to set up viable small business and is also a counterproductive strategy in building a better Fiji. Madam Speaker, we heard that the YES program had been a successful program, but they failed to mention any statistics or budget to substantiate their claim. Madam Speaker, let me share the FNPF story to shed more light on unemployment and the subsequent financial burden that will have to be addressed by this government and future governments, which is us on this side. Of the 429,936 members, 71% with below $10,000 savings, and only 29% have balances over $10,000. This can be due to irregular employment, low income, and employers paying the minimum wage of $2.68. Madam Speaker, a lot has been said about free transport. But free transport can only be true to the children of Sabtalele, Vekomba, Rokara Road communities in Kalambo. And I asked the Minister for Infrastructure, when will these roads, which were constructed by previous governments, can be expanded to allow for bus services to reach them? Otherwise, these children will always be left behind. The Honorable Assistant Minister said a lot about infrastructure development yesterday. Go and visit the Vikomba Bridge and the Vesinda Hut Bridge and make sure that it's upgraded. Otherwise, the school children are very much at risk when they have this heavy raining. Madam Speaker, 2.5 years after TC Winston, the Avata District School and the Avea District School still have not been completed in the construction works. And I really urge and request the Honorable Minister for Education to look into this. Madam Speaker, in the Nasino Nosori corridor, a big problem there is the waste management. and the Honorable Minister did not conduct the local government election as promised, and this could be a reason for these problems in the municipal country, in the council. And I'm looking to the new minister to please make sure that you conduct the local government election as compared to your predecessor, which only said things that you will do but didn't do it. Madam Speaker, a lot too has been said about the TELS. Let me clarify in this House, I, as the former Director for Training, administered the scholarship system under the Public Service Commission. And the TELS that they are talking about now, it's a loan. It's a loan scheme. And the way they're saying it, it's like a scholarship. The only scholarship that they have now is the Topper Scholarship. And the Topper Scholarship is a full scholarship, whereas the TELS scholarship, they have to pay back every cent. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish all of us a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and also to all of us in Fiji. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I now invite the Honourable Simeone Rasowa to take the floor.
Bulabunaka, Madam Speaker. The Honourable Prime Minister, the Honourable Ministers, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, the Honourable Members and the people of Fiji joining us today through televised broadcast and online via our greatest medium, Facebook. I rise here today as a proud son of Kadavu to deliver my maiden speech and to contribute to the debate before the House on the address of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Fiji. Madam Speaker, I would like also to begin by taking the moment to acknowledge my Heavenly Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, through which all things are possible. I thank the Lord for granting me the strength and the patience to endure the last 12 years and everything that has led me to this point in history. I would also like to congratulate you, Madam Speaker, on your appointment to the chair of this House, and I wish you the best of luck in the execution of your sacred duties, especially in regards to the overseeing of the rambunctious and passionate honourable colleagues lining the benches of the opposition. Madam Speaker, the depth of experience and confidence of the opposition bench is mostly a reflection of the vision of the leadership of the opposition leader, the Honourable Major General retired Stephen Rambuka, whom I am honoured to call my leader. I only wish my Natumuan Kai, Tanya Wanganeka, and her booming voice could have joined the House as Deputy Speaker. Without prejudice, current Deputy Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg your indulgence as I take a moment to thank my 3,286 voters, a majority of whom sacrificed a working day to cast their pre-poll ballots to Circle 551. I would also like to thank my biggest supporter, my beautiful wife, Serena Rasowa, and my two children, Vendovi and Vevil Rasowa. Madam Speaker, in the spirit of bipartisanship, and as the Honourable AG had pointed out rather emphatically, I shall, to my best of ability, use the Queen's English without consent. Without the Fijian Affairs consent in giving my quote, in like the Honourable Kurundani that he spoke yesterday, wishing to thank the Vanuas. But I tried as much as possible to put it in English, the Vanuas, and quote, in English, thank you to the land of the coral grass, the king of twist. And quote, unquote, in English, thank you to the Lord of Muddy Village, king of the south. And quote, Nampala Wanaturana Tuinakasa, in English, thank you, king of the Angona sprouts. And quote, Walisasa Wanaturana Tuinabukilevu, unquote, in English, thank you to the king of Plant Foundation, lives of the house of broomsticks. Now, Madam Speaker, if anyone laughed at the futility of my attempts to translate this into English, I would have reluctantly agreed. There are some times that can only be expressed in Fijian that capture and portray the deep honor and respect of those titles must be accorded. So, with your permission, I would like to withdraw my earlier attempts in trying to renaming those esteemed titles in English, and without prejudice and disrespect to the Vanua, I would like to begin again, and can you give me the time, please? I would like to thank the Vanua of Kadavu, the Vanua of Aturana, the last Vanaturan Tuitavuki, Koroi Soso Vanaturan Tuinadeva, Nambala, wana turanga tuina kasa. Wale sasa, wana turanga tuina bukelebu. Na evimbati, wana turanga tuyale. Wale ndaindaina, wana turanga tuyawe. Kina nongu vanua I koroi wambea, wana marana tui wambea na tuyono. Manusa, wana turanga tui rebitaki. Na wai malua, wana turanga tui nrue, and unquote, for their blessings and guidance and in endorsing my candidature today. Madam Speaker, just as His Excellency Major General retired Chochi Konusir Kondrate has implored us to work together in bipartisan unity. I pledge to work alongside government during my 4-year tenure to uplift the quality of life and improve the economic standard of living of the people of Kadavu and Fiji. I was born in the village of Lawaki in Kadavu, in the Tikino Nakaslek in the province of Kadavu. My birthright of Volani Kambula to the one of Paturang Naturu, Wanaturan Rohwaka. As a proud son of Naturu, Madam Speaker, please allow me to quickly highlight the various issues affecting my home island of Kadavu. On road improvements, I would like to thank the government of the latest road improvements in Kadavu from Vunisea to Nambukelewira, Vunisea via Richmond Methodist School, and to the completion of road from the Tikinoyawe, from Nalotu, all the way to Lomati, Nambukelebu. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to thank the Honourable Prime Minister for initiating construction of a road from Kavala Bay in Naleda to Vunisea. The people of Kadavu have really appreciated. Unfortunately, we are hoping that this road will then join the existing road from Vunisea to Namara. But in the last 12 years, the road has only reached Koroichoma in October this year. Without prejudice to the Honourable Prime Minister, we would humbly like him to request that he approve further developments on the road from his village of love, Namatiu, to merge with the existing road development from Koroichoma. And the people of Nadeva and Nakasle would greatly appreciate this gesture. We also need a jetty in Nambukelewira and Daku, Nadeva, Kadavu to ease the transportation costs and save travel time. These government developments are already in place by various governments and need attention and action by the present government, and sooner the better. I would like to address communications in Kadavu, Madam Speaker. After Tropical Cyclone Kirani on the 10th of April 2018, our wireless communication network hasn't really been fully restored. We need urgent repairs and maintenance to get it back to 100% coverage. This is a burning issue and needs prompt action. While still in communication, Madam Speaker, the people of Kadavu, I asked yesterday what they wanted. They also want Walisi TV services and connection to be in par with the rest of Fiji, and more so to keep themselves updated on the current affairs and weather news. On health centers, Kadavu is requesting for the maintenance and upgrading of the infrastructure in relations to the health centers and nursing stations located in the province. On Yangona, Madam Speaker, we are thankful to the Kadavu Provincial Council for the formation of the Kadavu Cover Association in partnership with government to boost the cover industry in the province, enhance their income and improve their lifestyle. The 90 kinas have collected their levy and are waiting for the government to provide its share to get the initiative off the ground. We would also like to implore government to initiate development of farm roads all over Kadavu. Madam Speaker, given the land and labour as well as the need to empower the people of Kadavu in terms of agricultural development, I would like to impress the idea of government taking the lead under the auspices of its mass-publicized green revolution to enable the farmers to get engaged with diversifying the other agricultural commodities apart from Yangona, Ndalo, Tavioka and fishing, or maybe coffee for the alternative. This will again bring back the question of price stability and market security. In regards to sports in Kadavu, I must thank the Honourable Prime Minister for, and on behalf of the people of Kadavu, initiating for the development of the rugby stadium at Vunisea. But the project needs completion and probably needs his intervention. On the same note, Madam Speaker, we'll appreciate if the government can develop 2 more stadiums, one on each island, one in Kavala and one in Nambukelewira, given the travel. The issues of business license in Kadavu, Madam Speaker, is a hindrance to small business and medium businesses. As it stands, in order to get a canteen owner to operate their store, they need to pay a license fee of $22 in addition to license to each product sold in, including cigarettes and other products. Altogether, totals to about $300. Now, in order to apply for, they have to travel all the way to Suva, get it vetted, spend 2 nights and travel back to Vunisea to get a public administrator who will then issue the license. If the minister in charge could kindly look into this request to empower the official in Vunisea to travel around Kadavu and approve license, thus saving small business owners the burden of traveling to Suva, spending about $400 and more. Lastly, on Kadavu, Madam Speaker, these houses may be aware of the marijuana issue in Kadavu province and in other parts of Fiji. The Kadavu people do not condone the illegal activity and are gravely concerned about how it has tarnished image. That being so, and coupled with the harsh punishment meted out by the courts, I am of the view that state authorities need to make the people seriously become aware of the substance abuse and the penalties they carry. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank the Honourable Opposition for having faith and confidence in appointing me as a Shadow Minister for Fisheries, whom I will be Honourable Korela Tsau. I inherited this position from former Honourable Rokini William Kilraggy, whom I am grateful for championing the cause of fisheries and forestry sector. Madam Speaker, I am expecting to hear about the policies and programs of the Ministry of Fisheries when Honourable Minister for Fisheries spoke 2 days ago, but his speeches leave me much desired. I am thankful that we will be working together for the next 4 years, not only for Kadavu, but the whole of Fiji. On average, Madam Speaker, we are told that every person consumes 64 kg of fish per year, making it a staple diet. And for our people, more so that we are in an island nation, and those living in the rural areas, remote areas, have limited resources for protein. In addition to that, nominal contribution to the fisheries sector makes our gross domestic product, or GDP, is offset by the fact that the fisheries sector continues to create minimal jobs and enterprise while seeking to make our fisheries sector competitive and to meet the demands of the export market. Madam Speaker, the current and future issues faced by the fisheries sector will need the collective action and will of the government, the resource owners, stakeholders in the fisheries sector, and those who are importing our fish to be summed up as follows: protection of the fishing sector grounds of the resource owners, the reviewing of the Ngoli legislation to return the control and the management of the fishing rights, conservation of fishing grounds and setting aside sites as fish hatcheries. Thank you to the Honourable Minister for Fisheries in Kadavu, in Matasalevu. Patrolling is illegal fishing in Fiji waters by modern-day pirates, price stability, market security for Fiji fish and Fiji products, the revival of PAFCO and other local fishing companies and government's assistance on aquaculture farming. Madam Speaker, in addition to my above portfolio as the Shadow Minister for Fisheries, I am the Assistant Shadow Minister for Youth and Sport to Ratu Suliano Matintumbua to make a brief contribution on youth affairs and sports. Noting that Fiji is now a young nation in terms of our definition for young age, and given the analysis of our population pyramid, given the House, Madam Speaker, let us note that subsistence abuse, NCD cases in young and middle age, poverty of access to denial of opportunity, lack of productivity, sedentary, and absence of youth leadership at all levels of decision making. The above are some of the challenges faced by our youth in addition to employment opportunities, getting entrapped in the debt burden and the effects of climate change and environment exploitations. That being so, Madam Speaker, we in the opposition acknowledge the fact that our previous and present governments have taken steps to empower our youth and seek to resolve youth issues under the auspices of the Duke of Edinburgh Award, Student Exchange Program, the Youth Volunteer Scheme, National Employment Centre, the National Youth Council, the National Youth Band, registered youth clubs. However, Madam Speaker, how many of these youth benefit from these initiatives? Much bigger question. Therefore, Madam Speaker, it is important to evaluate the problems and potentials, challenges and opportunities for youth in a holistic context. This means aligning our national policies and plans in power with regional and international goals. For example, arts and sports are one of the highest paying vocations in the world, but I fail to understand why we are allowing our youth to excel in these areas, which mean more income for them, their families, and the nation. Madam Speaker, speaking on sports as a uniting force, an avenue of entertainment, good food and longevity, as well as a revenue, fame earner for the athletics, sporting bodies, and the nation. And I would humbly urge the government to consider taking the following steps in the sphere of consultation with stakeholders: enactment of a code of sports administration discipline mechanism, reviewing the substance abuse legislation incorporating anti-doping measures, community awareness on substance abuse and penalties on farming, and dealing with illegal herbal drugs as marijuana, preparation of our national teams for regional and international competitions, as highlighted by Honourable Ngavoka, development of national database athletics sports officials like FRFU is doing today, development and necessary infrastructure of host regional and international events, establishment of national sports insurance scheme, and setting up an aftercare fund for the welfare and retired disabled athletes. Madam Speaker, should you be able to address these issues in time to come, it will lead into sporting activities, which will mean good health and long life for our people, more revenue, fame, better opportunities to unite and sell a stronger nation. My heartfelt goes to my campaign group, Team Kadavu 551, my Sodelpa president in Kadavu, Brother Celeste Matea, my campaign director Namaku and his family, to the Way family, my IT campaign manager, Choni Rayawa, sitting down over there, and my son, Manueli Taletawa from Bukavu, Nadewa is sitting somewhere over there, and my son, Vewili Rosova, and my fiber captain and brother, Samsoni Rosova, our polling agents, counting agents, and volunteers in all 76 polling stations. I thank them and the supporters of the sheer hard work and sacrifice leading to my elections to this House. A very special thank you to the 2,882 who were from the Eastern Division in Kadavu, 266 from the Central and Rewanga Suba areas, 49 from the Western, and 15 from the Northern Division, and 74 postal ballots from Australia, New Zealand, and the United States. I also wish to thank my study of men's health advocates, prostate cancer, the Suba Golanolis. I wish them well in their tour of Manila and Hong Kong in March and April, of which I wish to go. I think we're sitting on that weekend, and I will write. I would like also to thank the Rosova families of Black House in Rewanga, the Wangaroya families, and the four Baravilala families, the Rewanga Methodist Church, the Rewanga Rugby basketball supporters, Rewanga classmates and friends, and families in Moirake Viti. I wish to repay my faith in me in pushing for the upgrade of our footpaths and streets of Rewanga, like Davu Lane, Derrick Street, Browning Street, Milverton Road, and all the streets in Rewai, which needs upgrading. I wish to thank my Rosova family here in Fiji and in the West, and also in California, USA, in London, in Brisbane, Manassas, Sydney, Melbourne, Australia, and New Zealand, and all my Indian voters nationwide. They voted for me. Thank you for supporting me. I wish to thank the Tokei Tamabo and his families for personally introducing me to politics. Thanking my employer and my former employees of Fiji and Fiji Air, and since 1980 to 2000. I also wish to thank a lady from Langalewu, Ms. Aggie O'Connor, who financed and also support the Team Kadavu in everywhere we went around Kadavu. And I will also convey congrats to another Langalewu sitting there, Honorable Alex O'Connor. Thank you, Kai. I joined my parliamentary colleagues to say Vinakawalevu to my party, the Social Democrat Liberal Party, for filling me as a candidate in 2014. I didn't reach here, and I made it again in 2018. And thank the leaders of the Sodelpa Party for making it possible for me to end up here. Thank you, ma'am. I was also lucky in 2004 by the unwavering commitment of my people, and my party paid me a handsome dividend in 2018. That is the reward of loyalty to our people and preserving the standard of ideologies and political principles in life. It's indeed a privilege for me to be in the House with the Kadavu Free Birds, if I may use the terminology to signify the record. The Kadavu spirit in my fellow colleagues, the Opposition Whip, Honorable Linda Tambuya, and Honorable Landon Karakata Tambua. And I look to the other side, there's Honorable Corey Lavisau and also Connor, that we are from Kadavu. And also I also acknowledge that we, Madam Speaker, from ONU, and we hear the Marama from ONU and Charlie Kada, and ONU was there. We are also supporting your appointment, ma'am. And also are lobbying from Kadavu and the championing the Kadavu pride outside this House. Madam Speaker, I wish to associate myself with the honourable member of this House to plead the leaders of the people of this nation to shun from their personal and political differences aside. And now that the election is over, come together and engage in a meaningful dialogue and consensus building in the nation issues. There is a lot of work to be done to liberate our people from the bondage of over-regulations and over-taxation to make Fiji free again. Let us begin by reconciliation, tolerance, and unity. And I do not have an iota of doubt that, like our founder leaders, despite all the differences, there still exists some goodwill that can keep us moving and chalk away the way forward. With these few words, Madam Speaker, I wish the honourable members of our Parliament and staff a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Madam Speaker, I support the motion before the House. Binaka.
And now I invite the Honourable Dr. Mandra Reddy to take the floor.
Honourable Speaker, Honourable Ministers, Honourable Leader of Opposition, Honourable Members of Parliament, Bulavanaka to you all. Madam Speaker, it is an honour to stand before you today in this august House and deliver my maiden speech. Madam Speaker, I wish to thank our President, His Excellency Georgie Kondrothe, for his most gracious speech. His Excellency has rightfully set a platform for us to govern our beloved nation the next 4 years. Madam Speaker, I wish to congratulate you on your reappointment as Speaker. You have served this august House well since 2014, and there is no doubt that you would continue to doing that. Madam Speaker, your humbleness doesn't allow you to understand that you are indeed a role model of women in our country to succeed and excel and to provide leadership. I want to thank you for that, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, may I also congratulate and thank our Prime Minister, Honourable Josiah Moringa Bainimarama, as under his leadership, we as a nation have achieved unprecedented social and economic prosperity in the last decade, despite the other members on the other side not willing to accept that fact. Madam Speaker, not many appreciate how much sacrifice one has to make to take a public office, and that too, the office of the Prime Minister. With the rising levels of expectation from the public, our Honourable Prime Minister is just a call away from the rank and file, the ordinary Fijians. Never in the history of this country we had such an action-oriented, accessible Prime Minister. Those of us who are heading the various ministries know very well how seriously he takes his responsibility to the people of Fiji. Madam Speaker, whenever an issue, request or complaint is raised with Honourable Prime Minister, he immediately forwards it to the responsible minister for us to address the matter, close it off and inform him. Until such time the matter is closed satisfactorily to all parties, it is on his list and he will check on it. He doesn't forget, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honourable Prime Minister has led us with dedication. The Honourable Prime Minister has led us with dedication and commitment, and we should applaud his leadership and vision for our nation. Madam Speaker, this country at this point in time has no substitute for him. Madam Speaker, there is no match for him. The people of this country will not settle for anyone other than him, and his record of achievement speaks volumes on this. Madam Speaker, having been through 2 elections, I'm quite certain to note how the opposition has been trying to undo all the good work that we have done to remove racialized politics in this country and take the country forward. Madam Speaker, it saddens me to note that while we are blessed with diversity, the opposition, instead of harnessing from the richness of this diversity in ethnicity, culture and religion, they have used it as a tool to divide the nation and take us back to days where ethnic supremacy was the order of the day. Madam Speaker, I want to tell the opposition that while they are doing this in pursuit of the short-term goal of getting into government, they are doing a great disservice to future Fiji, because when their children and grandchildren grow up and read about Fiji's history, they'll be very saddened because they will want a Fiji which embraces all and not just one ethnic group or one religion. Madam Speaker, I sincerely hope that the opposition understands that it is not simply a bounteous land that makes a nation, but a common thread of diverse culture, religion, and identity that unite its people. A great nation can only be the consequence of the people it comprises of. Madam Speaker, the persistence of racism, racial profiling remains a serious challenge to our hope to thrive as a nation of principles of fairness, equality, and liberty. Madam Speaker, dangerous cocktail of willful ignorance, racism, and bigotry spewed during election campaign remind us that hatred and animosity still fester and there are some elements in our society who are willing to consciously impact the tenuous and fragile nature of racial harmony in the name of positive discrimination, consciously using their stature and position to poison the minds of our youth, risking incitement of more serious kind of hatred and intolerance amongst us Fijians. Often shielded by ethno-nationalistic rhetoric to try to divide us, their views are fundamentally anti-democratic. True patriots embrace fairness, equality and liberty and respect fellow citizens. Madam Speaker, while social media platforms have become an increasingly ambiguous presence in people's lives across the globe, hate speech, racism, fake news and various forms of bigotry have risen to the unpatriotic activities of keyboard warriors. Madam Speaker, social media has been ungraciously misused by some to spew hate speech, racial tensions, discrimination, racial profiling, hiding behind fake IDs, most often on foreign land. These perpetrators sell intolerance and bigotry covered with fabric of patriotism. Madam Speaker, hate speech is dangerous because words have power and can influence others to act. Hate tears society along racial, ethnic, and gender and religious lines. Madam Speaker, it is time now that we pledge that we won't let self-political gains and nationalistic ideologies divide us. We all, the elected members of this august House, should ensure that our supporters do not demean others on the basis of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, age, and disability. Madam Speaker, we have come a long way to let us ungodly thoughts undermine our dream for our nation's future. That is peace, prosperity, stability, and equality. We must heal the divisions caused by intolerance and bigotry. It's a challenge to members from the other side, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, to mend all this, we need to do something. First and foremost, we need to act. In the face of hatred and racial discrimination, apathy will be interpreted as acceptance by perpetrators. We must take action. If we don't, hate and discrimination will persist. Madam Speaker, I urge all fellow Fijians to reject leaders that show bias and fail to act on such issues. Look inside yourself for biases and stereotypes. We all grow up with prejudices and fear. Madam Speaker, I still believe the best days are ahead and that our commonalities will prevail over our differences. Madam Speaker, I would like to quote Ban Ki-moon, the 8th Secretary General of the United Nations, and I quote, "Defeating racism, tribalism, intolerance, and all forms of discrimination will liberate us all, victims and perpetrators alike." Unquote. Let's practice motivation and love and not discrimination and hate. Madam Speaker, I wish to ask the leaders on the other side not to remain silent when their neighbors, friends, or fellow colleagues is making racial or hate comments. Stop them and have a word with them. If you're quiet, thinking that it doesn't affect you, then think twice, that someday it might affect you. In 1987, when Honorable Mbuka carried out the coup, majority of the Itokais were applauding